Hello, my fellow readers. This is iDarkSymphony777 with the second part of my Q&A. As always, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, and leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the video. And finally, if you can, please help spread the word of this channel. I want to see if that's possible because I'm always working. Always working! Guys, I never have time to actually spread this channel around or get help or do any of that stuff. So that would be appreciated. You don't have to if you don't want to. Can't force you. So let's actually get into this. You also see my screensaver, a best girl. So yeah, this is the second half of my newest Q&A. I'm actually on a time limit. I actually originally wanted to do Follow the Equestria first before I did this video, but considering the fact I had to go to work all this week except for 2 days, because Family Dollar has clearly never heard of labor laws. um, I kind of have to do this one now. I'm actually on a very strict time limit, like a very very strict time limit. Uh, there's that. So let's get into it. Now, the first question is actually not here because I'm actually showing off my thing, because a specific question I actually wanted to show off my reviews. Actually comes from my Discord with Chrome Regis. Ignore her. Don't say anything. And the question is, what's next for you to review? Any particular stories you have your eyes on? Now, the reason I had to do her question on Discord is she's having a lot of issues in her hometown in the Philippines that involves the Wi-Fi constantly shutting on and off, so she couldn't really do the normally, I answer the questions through the comment section, but I figured this is extenuating circumstances, so I gave her this pass this one time for this. So, and that question can actually be answered with this. This is actually all the stories I have reviewed on this channel. I have this specific page on my Google Docs for this purpose. And you actually see all the ratings. Like, these are actually not how I think. This is more, the ratings right here are actually more the technical the technical things. Basically, the more written it is, the more, higher it is. So it's like you have, where's the story? Let me actually find it. Used. No, 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 no. There we go. See, you have, wait a minute, that's the number's wrong. That's 9. So you have Ghost Issue, which I don't like, but it's a 9 out of 10 because it's written really well. And we actually go down here. These are actually all the stories currently that I have lined up. So yeah, after this one is Follow the Equestria. Spoiler alert, you can already see the score, so it's like you already know it's going to be favorable. And then you have this Frozen BioShock story. And then after that, you got the big one, which is the Shadow Chasers, which is all these stories. I'm actually part way through Ascension. I'm gonna get my honest thoughts about these 3 stories. I did not like Power Primordial. Soulscape was massively disappointing. I did like Torment, though. I like Torment, though. I thought Torment was entertaining. And Ascension, I'm already kind of liking it. The different vibe a bit. And then, of course, after that, I got these ones. Well, minus Shayla's story. I wanted to get those out of the way. In terms of any fanfictions I could think of, the big one is is the Shadow Chasers. There was one other big fanfiction series that I was eyeing my eye on, which would be, I think, Luniverse, I believe that was called. And of course, there's also Deluge, which hopefully, according to the author, may come out later this year. I hope that's the case. So, As after that, there's also Total Drama Infinite 2 by Meme King. He's actually keeping me updated. Um, and there's other stuff. Like I don't really have that many fan fictions left. Like not like these three are just suggestions. I gotta actually I gotta figure out what to do after I do all these. So actually, let's go to the other questions. So now I got like these a bunch of questions. These ones are gonna be last because these are like the most important ones. Probably gonna be the most to talk about. The first questions come from Peter Eng. The first question is favorite DC and Marvel villains. I'm not a big fan of DC. I'm more of a Marvel person, and even then, I'm more of a DC person, and even then, it's mostly Batman. I'm not a big superhero fan. Like there's some villains that is like kind of go over my head, but I always had a soft spot for Batman. So I guess like my favorite Batman villains would be Harley Quinn. First of all, I know she's technically a gray area now. She kind of flips between hero and villain now, whenever the story calls for it. Joker, obviously, Mr. Freeze, Two-Face. Not a big fan of the Penguin. Other than like Batman, Lex Luthor. I like Darkseid. I don't really have any other Ebon from Static Shock. Anything else? Ever think of reviewing DV? I did review DeviantArt content. Yeah, that what's the name of that story? Smug Spell Caster. Like I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I did DeviantArt story. I did this story. This is the one where Jade and Yuki turned into she turned into this chick. Where Jade and Yuki turned into her. No. She turned into her. She turned into Witchcrafter, Madame Burry. Or he turned into Madame Burry. I mean, if you want me to do DeviantArt content, I could. Just send me a link. I'll do it. I already did it. It's like, granted, it's like, it was like, yeah, three DeviantArt stories. Favorite One Piece villains? Crocodile. I love Crocodile. Crocodile's actually my, I actually really like Crocodile. I liked Perona. You can't really call her a villain anymore because she lives with Mihawk. Well, she lived with Mihawk, and now she's going after Moria Sama because Moria got kept now as a slave by Blackbeard. I kind of like Kaido. I think Kaido's kind of bland, to be honest. Like, he's not Crocodile. I freaking love Doflamingo. Like, Doflamingo saved Dressrosa. Katakuri. I liked Zephyr from Film C, but he's not canon. I actually liked Bege. Like, I know he's technically a villain. He's a rival pirate, so he technically is a villain. More of a rival, but I like Bege. Let me say this one for last. Everything of reviewing Wattpad content. Yes, actually. The main issue I have with Wattpad is it's so difficult to navigate. That site is just incredibly difficult. If you noticed that most of the fanfiction I did are either from fanfiction, or the few that haven't are mainly from FIM fiction. Mainly because those two stories have the best UI. Well, fanfiction doesn't really have a great UI, but it's better than AO3. And all three of them are definitely better than Wattpad. I kept trying to navigate Wattpad, but it kept saying, oh, you gotta make an account to even look. It's like, okay, I made an account. I have such a hard time navigating this site. It's not even funny. Like, it's so annoying to navigate that website. If you have a story from Wattpad to do it, Hell, I'll do stories from like any website as long as they're if they're fan fiction. Like I'll even do stuff from I don't know adult fan fiction, literotica, other fan fiction sites. I can't think of any. DeviantArt, like I'll do DeviantArt. It just has to be complete, and it's like really hard to do. And then favorite OC villains, I'll extend this to any OCs because villains is so specific. I figured I'd be broader. First one to come to mind, Valkyrie from Fusion of Destinies 2. Freaking phenomenal villain. She's bar none the best original character I've ever read. Bar none. Just set the bar so high. Other favorite OCs, Puppy Smouse from Fallen Equestria, Pink Eyes. I love the little pony like the Dickens. Helena Cygnus from Straw Hat and the Iliad. Jake Kavanaugh from Darkness Arises. I like Bob from the Super Koopa series. He doesn't show up a lot, but he shows up. It's like I just love he's so quirky. I just like him. Other OCs. I guess you can kind of say I like Hebony from the Shadow Chaser series, but she's like kind of bland. She hoping Soulscape would actually fix her, at least make her a fully fleshed out character. No. Off the top of my head, let's see. Let me go through this. Let me actually go through this real quick. Let's see. I mean, I guess you can kind of count Melanie from Journey Through Darkness Arises as Journey Through Light and Darkness as a villain. She's more of an anti-hero. No, anti-villain. Because she's like mostly like really off mentally. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm literally trying to think if there's like any other memorable OCs. Let's see. No. I mean, I guess I like the original characters from Total Alternate Island. Andrew's a little bland, but I still liked him. But I mainly liked Laura and Mara. Mainly because those are those are the ones that actually had the most time. But I didn't like all of them. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we're gonna be going here a while. Oh, I like Scott from Enduring the Evil series. I really like Scott. I know he's a hero, but he's so Burt Gummer that I can't help but like him. And I like Burt Gummer as a character. Let's see. Other characters now. No. What was her name? Natalie from Hercules and the Model Girl. I liked her. She's all right. She kind of sagged in the in season 2, but yeah, season. Wait, yeah. She kind of sagged in this season, but she kind of picked up in season 3. So she was like good here, but then she kind of. But that's mainly because season 2 was like very repetitive and just really blatantly filler. Let's see, more. And here's Pink Eyes. Cuphead, no. Yeah, let's see. I still got some time. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Is there like anything? Angseth. Angseth was a really good written character. Not a villain, but she was really good until Act 3. Let's see. Can you count McBallyhoo as an OC? Because he has like no character in Mario Party 8. No, I won't count him. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's Balzelda. I like Balzelda as a character. Balzelda was really, really good. Let's see. No. No. Um, trying to think. I'm trying to think. There has to be one more character. Oh yeah. Where is she? Near the bottom. Where is she? Near the bottom. Right here. Jade from Stranger Me. And I think that would be it. Yeah, that would be it because most of the stuff over here is super Koopa-like. Yeah, that would definitely. Yeah, that would definitely be it. See, what kind of costume right here? And Jade from. Yeah, the last one would be Jade from. Uh, would be Jade from Stranger and Me. She was a really well written character. Her and Connie's relationship pretty much saved that story. It was okay if not for that, for how good they were written. Let's see. That's it for that. Okay. Favorite and least favorite fan fiction tropes and cliches. I have one that's very, very specific, but I'm not a fan of every single fan fiction involving Pinkie Pie, like having her break the fourth wall. I'm some stories, some stories really seem out of place when she randomly breaks the fourth wall. Spoiler for Fallout Equestria, Fallout Equestria, but there's a part where Pinkie Pie is because in that story Pinkie Pie's hopped on drugs in the past because a lot of the stuff involving the main six happened in the past. And what happens is Pinkie Pie so hopped up on these specialized drugs that her pinky sense gets really amplified and she's actually able to talk to Little Pip even though Little Pip is like 200 years in the future because Little Pip is actually watching Pinkie Pie's memories through a memory orb. In that story, that made sense. A little, kind of, sort of, but it made enough sense that it's like, okay, fine. But I've read several Pinkie Pie stories where she just randomly breaks the fourth wall, and it's so completely out of it. I mean, it makes sense because it's Pinkie Pie. That's fine. It's Pinkie Pie. She does sort of things. But there's a time and place where you do this sort of thing where it really doesn't fit. Like it really, really does not fit the scenario. And she just randomly breaks the fourth wall. It doesn't. It really, really does not fit. I know, like I said, it's really specific. I know not everyone reads My Little Pony stories, but I read enough My Little Ponies stories that it gets kind of annoying when Pinkie Pie, when the scenario doesn't call for it, and where it also really doesn't fit the story what the author's trying to do, and he just shelves a Pinkie Pie doing fourth wall breaks, completely meta shit. It really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't fit, and I don't like that. The only time I've seen where that really doesn't happen and actually makes the story better is the games we play by I can't remember the author's name. It's the same person why Pinkie Pie watches paint dry and she has like an existential crisis for some reason. Where she doesn't break the fourth. As far as I remember, doesn't break the fourth wall at all, and that made the story so much better because it really sells what Pinkie Pie's going through when with trying to fall in love with Rainbow Dash. That's a romance story, so just mention that up there. A cliche. I don't. Probably the biggest cliche I can think of would be I'm not a fan of. I know this is kind of a weird one because this is kind of a really meta one. I'm not a fan of the fact that everyone kind of calls villain like certain OCs Mary Sue's. A lot of people jump the gun. I know this is a weird one. Just bear with me. I'm not a fan of people just calling OCs bad. I'm also kind of a meta one. I also hate the fact that a lot of people say all fan fiction in general is bad. I mean, that's technically cliche. I mean, is it true? It kind of is, but it doesn't make it bad. I mean, this channel is proof. I've read plenty of good stories. This is what the whole purpose of the channel is about. It's about to be me having fun and talking about what something I love, which is reading and storytelling, and it relaxes me. It helps me keep calm. But I just hate the cliche that everyone thinks fanfiction automatically equals bad, because it's not. It's fun. It's entertaining at times. So there's that. Thoughts of writing battles, shooting stuff. I think it really comes down to how good the author is, because I think writing a fighting, because fighting, the whole thing in fighting is more beneficial with like a visual medium than a written medium, because not only do you have to have a specific level of skill in writing, but the people reading it have to have a specific mindset to actually be able to imagine everything going on them. So like, I can easily picture a fight scene in my mind, but not everyone would be able to. So I think it just comes down to a lot of variables. I think writing like fight scenes can be good. It can sometimes enhance a story. I remember there was going back to My Little Pony, there's a story called I can't remember the name of it. Where at the end, the final battle is like a sort of Alicorn Twilight versus a basically god who basically has the ability to like nullify the elements of harmony, but just say no because he's like the guy who like he's the husband of the chick who made the elements of harmony in that story. I wish I could remember that story. And so the final chapter was just one long fight scene between Twilight and Order. I'm going to call him Order, and it was really well written. It was immaculate. There's also like Megami no Hanabira. It did a lot of fight scenes and it did it relatively well. I think. But my main thought is I think it just comes down to the writer's skill, the writer's intention of how he's gonna plan everything out, and also the reader if they have the specific mindset up to be able to visualize the storytelling, what they're reading in their mind. I think that plays a big factor. Favorite games. I'm a big sucker for the Castlevania franchise. I'm a big fan of Symphony of the Night, Circle of the Moon, Portrait of Ruin, Dawn of Sorrow, Aria of Sorrow, Order of Ecclesia. I like Bloodstained. Other favorite games: Mega Man, Mario. I play Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, I have this. I have that. So I can play Yu-Gi-Oh when I want to. But yeah, my favorite games would be mostly about Castlevania, I like Mega Man, Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime, Yu-Gi-Oh, like Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Excuse me. In terms of fighting games, I would have to say actually Super Smash Bros. And Skullgirls. I'm about the season pass for Skullgirls. And that would be it. Like, that's it. Any thoughts on writing multiple endings? I mean, I think it depends on the type of story. Like, if you're trying to go for like an ending that's supposed to be multiple stories, ignore that. If a story's supposed to have multiple endings, then fine, let it have multiple endings. Like a choose your own adventure story, those things, like, their whole purpose is multiple endings. So I think it's fine. Have it work. It works. The Total Drama series actually has a history of having multiple endings in their shows, but the endings actually just depend on where you live. So, it can work. I'm not a big fan of it, but I can see the application of where it can work and where it can't work. And so, that's one of the things when I do a review is like I try to be as fair and balanced as possible. It's like try to see where the author's coming from when writing a certain scene or a specific character and stuff like that. Because if I review everything based on what I personally like, then it would just be like everything that's not drama, garbage. Everything that is drama, oh, godly. But no, you have to, that's part of being a critic. You have to be as fair as possible. Like you don't have. There's always going to be. This is actually something me and Star actually talked about several times, and that's the whole idea of subjectivity versus objectivity. I think you can be mostly objective in reviews if you're actually smart enough and you're actually knowledgeable enough in various facets of how everything works. But she's like, no, you can't be. You have to be. Every review is subjective. It's like you can't. It's like there are certain factors. Let me actually leave a comment. Do you think that you can be objective in reviews, or do you have to be or are you completely subjective? Like I would just or no wait. Let me word that. Let me word that correctly. Do you think when someone reviews something, they can only be subjective, or do you think it's possible that they can be objective in it? Let me just know what you think. And then we come to the last two stories, which is My Cardboard Hut. And, let's see. The big one. What inspired you to start this channel, and do you have an intention of growing it? What inspired me to start this channel actually comes from back in middle school when YouTube first started. Me and my friends were hanging out, and we were actually talking about our dreams. And we saw YouTube, and we thought, hey, and we actually wanted to have a lot of fun. And just be ourselves, and just hang out, and do videos about that. Because at the time, we didn't even think about making money off it. And so, me and 3 of my friends, I still hang out with them, 2 of them. We all agreed to try and do a YouTube channel. And then around 2011, I did my first couple. I actually still had the dreams of doing YouTube, mostly for fun, as a hobby. Because what inspired me to do this channel was the stress of everything to do with my family. I came from a broken home. I had to endure a lot of abuse. And I wanted to use the channel as a way to de-stress, as something that I can vent to in a sort of way. Even if I'm not yelling and screaming, I can vent, just talk a lot, and then calm down, and hopefully I can, keep on going with my day. And so I did my very first Let's Play, which was like a very shoddy Resident Evil Let's Play, which I did. That was in 2011. But we deleted it because I wanted to start over. And what eventually started with the fanfiction thing was, at the time, I was reading a lot of fanfiction, and I saw a video by a channel called Grand Line Review, who does a lot of One Piece content. Go subscribe to him if you're a fan of One Piece. He's really, really good. And he did a video talking about types of content. Like, you can do, like, there's 2 types of content creators. There's one that does something that's well known, exceptionally well, or a type of content creator who does something that's not really represented a lot on YouTube, and thus you fill in a new niche. And I looked around YouTube, it's like, there's not really a lot of stuff related to fanfiction. There's Terrible Writing Advice, which is mainly just a trope channel. There is a couple. There is one other channel that does a lot of fanfiction stuff. That does some fanfiction content, but they do readings and not reviews. And they mainly just stick to My Little Pony content anyway. I can't remember the name of it. I wish I could remember the name of the channel. But they did. But I thought I would do something unique. And so I decided to start reviewing fanfiction because it's like I like fan fiction. I like talking about something that I love, and the need for wanting to use this channel to de-stress and help me relax over all the stresses from not only my family but the channel actually started when I was living with my ex, and also the stress of dealing with my ex because she's not the nicest person. Claims Zimler claims the guy who ran Auschwitz was a good person. That's what she said. But yeah, the need to want to de-stress and want to have do something, and never really left me. And I thought, I got the laptop I had around that time had a camera in it. I like, why not? Like, let me just do it for fun. Let me just do it as a hobby. And that kind of transitions into the second half of the question. If I had to grow it, it's like, yeah, I would like to grow it. I would like it to become big, because my dream for this channel has always been, I want fan fiction to at least be respected. And let me actually hold on. Let me actually plug my charger in, because this computer is about to die. Actually, where is it? Where's my charger? Where's my charger? Charger. Okay, my charger. 1 second. My charger is actually. Now, there you go. Sorry about that. My laptop actually almost died. This laptop actually burned through its battery really, really fast. I do have every intention to wanting to grow this channel. I just really don't know how to go about it, because, well, first off, I'm not a big fan of sites like Twitter and Facebook and all that. I don't trust them. And I tried using Twitter. I got bored with it. I got seriously bored with Twitter. And it's like, I'm not going back on the site. No. And I do want to grow, and the other reason I want to grow it is I don't like this reputation fanfiction has, like being nothing more than stories written by women who just are bored and out of their mind, just want to imprint their fantasies. I mean, yeah, the woman thing is true. Like, I believe the vast majority of fanfiction authors are women. I think it's like a 80-20 in favor of women, but that's me guessing and spitballing. So don't take that as the truth. Does fanfiction deserve that reputation? Yeah, it does, to a point. It does absolutely deserve the reputation of kind of like this stupid, over-the-top wish fulfillment stuff. But I see it as people wanting to express their passion for something they love, whether it be for writing or whatever genre they're reading for, and I always saw myself as someone wanting to help people, but I never really knew what to do. When I thought, I'd make this channel to help people out, and try and contribute my own way to helping someone out. I know it's kind of a petty reason, but it is what it is. It's better than nothing. Yeah, I would grow the channel. It's just right now, because I'm looking for a new job currently, because Family Dollar really is not a nice company to work for. If you ever work for them or Dollar General or Dollar Tree, just don't. Better yet, start rounding up, start finding people who used to work for them and try and get enough evidence for the Better Business Bureau. My opinion. Just trust this from someone who's worked there for 3 years. It's not a pretty place to work. But yeah, that's also why I've been asking people to spread the word around, and why I also leave it in the descriptions, because if I want this channel to grow, it's like I won't be able to do it because of my job. So I figured get my subscribers to help me at least a little bit. Just spread the word around. Maybe every little bit helps. Again, I don't If you don't want to, you don't have to. That's another thing. Is I'm sorry. I'm actually sorry if I'm looking this way. I'm actually used to the camera being there because now I've moved the camera on top of my laptop. I do I do want to help in my little way. So it's just I don't know how to do it. I do want to grow it. I do want to have it fun and stuff like that. And the final question is, do you have a fan fiction you would write if you felt you had the skill? If so, what would it be about? This is something I never thought anyone would ask, because I've always said it before. I always had like writing issues whenever I wrote. I always get like writer's block. And over the years, I've had lots of ideas for characters and worlds and things and stuff like that. I had so many original characters, it's not even funny. And I don't know what I would read if I had the skill. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing to talk about because the only person I talked about this to is Star. When I was growing up, I had all these cool ideas and cool characters and this world and all this stuff. Nobody ever wanted to talk to me about this stuff. So when Star actually, started talking to me about it, I actually started crying because, like, now someone would actually try to listen. And, I told her about my characters and my world and stuff like that. And she liked them. She didn't like everything, but she liked them. And it just finally felt like a imaginary weight in my chest kind of lifting, because now I can actually talk about some of my characters. The only thing I would probably write about, because it's a fan fiction, because all my other ideas are like a original idea, it would be a story about this girl named Sherry, who's a broken girl who actually, this would technically be a Meta Runner fan fiction because it technically takes place in the Meta Runner world, but it would chronologically take place before the events of the show. If you don't know, Meta Runner is a web series created by Glitch Productions, otherwise known as the guys who made SMG4, and it stars like a world where gaming took over everything. The story would follow Sherry, who is a broken girl. Like, her design is, she would be like a kind of, somewhat skinny girl, but her body is like completely covered in scars. And she's afraid of people noticing them because they would ask questions. And so to hide them, she wears like this full body suit that's actually modeled after a -8 Shy Gal. Just look up Shy Gal. No, you better have Shy Gal -8. Come on, there we go. She's modeled kind of like this. Or like this. Ignore the gun. But yeah, she's technically like that, but her face is like, the mask is an LED screen. Hold on. I just remembered. Actually, in like Halloween a couple years ago, I actually had a bet with a friend who's not my friend anymore, where I actually dressed up as a Shy Gal. Not a Shy Guy, a Shy Gal. And I tried to convince people that I was actually a woman. And I actually succeeded. Everyone thought I was a woman. I went the full 9 yards. I had the stockings. I had heels. I was wearing heels. I even had a padded bra. It's like, but that damn, it was worth $100. I don't care. It was worth it. Never get in the way of a man wanting money. Better yet, a person wanting money. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Very, very hot in there, though. And so the story would kind of follow her adventure. Well, basically, the story would have her be the person who made the Meta Runners. Basically, the Meta Runner is a device that the characters put on the arm. Basically replaces their arm, and they basically get like better reflexes. Basically, acts like a portable tool assisted mod, tool assisted system for like gaming, so that way you have better reflexes, stuff like that. And Sherry would technically be the person who built the prototype. Basically, the lore would have Sherry built the prototype, but she built it for computer work because she would work as someone who fixes computers and stuff like that. Lux, who's like the main antagonist of season 1, would show up, see the blueprints, buy the blueprints from her, and then he would just turn that blueprint into what you see in the show, basically. So technically, she would technically make the Meta Runner, but just the prototype, and Lux would get the copyrights to like and build the actual Meta Runners you see in the show. Her story would be that she grew up in a somewhat broken house. Her father was a nice person, but her mother ran a terrorist organization called the Black Lotuses, and they specialize in black propaganda. Black propaganda is basically a term used when people in one side pretend to be people on the other side to kind of incite violence and kind of push their own agenda forward. So, like, I don't know, if you look at it from a political, like if it's like someone from the political right pretend to be went to a politically left-leaning event, and then they started pretending to be a left or someone from the left, and they basically just started insulting the rights and trying to incite violence, and manages to get people to join all the lefts to join in with them. Same thing on the opposite side. That's technically black propaganda. That's just black propaganda. It's trying to make the other side worse than the side you're actually on. And her mom actually would run the whole town. She basically controls everything. She has she uses the fact that she is a mother as justification for like, oh, the father was bad. And also a heaping side of the fact that she has like a bunch of cops on the take. But she's not like actually running a town. Like she even has like the mayor as a figurehead. It's like just ignore everything going on, and she just actually mostly acts as a widow. And she had Sherry for the purpose of wanting an heir because she's actually paranoid that she would eventually be caught, and thus her organization would lose her leadership. So she had Sherry. Sherry was raised by her father. Her father was a doctor, and Sherry wants to be a good person. However, the mother didn't really like that, and thus, all the scars were actually inflicted by the mother to try and basically say that you're gonna be our leader. And the most notable ones are the one on her throat, which actually prevents Sherry from talking. So her character would be that she's mute, and she actually emotes using her mask. So like her LED mask, like if she's happy, the LEDs would turn into like a smiley face or something like that. But it still keep the typical shy guy, the whole shy gal look to it. And also, like, she would have a massive scar that's shaped like a lotus flower on her back to symbolize that doesn't matter what you do, you will always be part of the Black Lotus. And her mother basically sent a woman by the name of Japania or Leanders, who would, in my opinion, would probably be the Meta Runner version of, if you watched SMG4, Psycho Bicharu, who's basically like a somewhat based on Doki Doki for some reason. And she'd be like the person who's in charge of keeping an eye on Sherry to make sure no information got let out about the Black Lotus, or basically just keep an eye on her. Japan is like very ambitious, and she uses a sledgehammer to torture people. Hence why she has the nickname Psycho Bitch as her nickname. And the story would follow Sherry wanting to be optimistic and trying her best, and then she comes across friends, which, surprise surprise, if Meta Runner is based off video games, this story would be based off card games, where she meets several Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, and basically she has to try and learn how to become courageous and try and stand up for herself as she goes to the dual monster world and tries to help them with their problems, and eventually she kind of gets courage, and she makes some friends and becomes a better person overall. and then at the end she would probably confront her mother, and then how I would picture the ending was she would enter the living room, her mother's like drinking like scotch or some alcohol, and the mother starts yelling at her and calling her a failure. And then Sherry kind of symbolically ending her character. She would actually willingly undress herself in front of her mother until she's like in her underwear and then just glaring at her. And then she would pretend to about to swing a fist. Her mother would flinch, and then she would, through strained vocal cords, basically tell her, in no uncertain terms, "I'm better than you." And then she would take up her clothes, put on her mask, and leave. And then as she leave, the cops are actually coming to arrest the mother because a massive investigation on the scale like Al Capone happened, and they finally got enough evidence to get her. And so basically, like, symbolically and actually physically ending the Black Lotus and letting Sherry be free. Granted, Japania will still be on the loose because she's a psycho, but, you know, she would probably be, like, if I do a sequel, she would probably be the main antagonist. While in this story, her mother and, like, various dual monsters would probably be the main antagonist. I do have, like, I have a lot of ideas in that. It's just, I just thought it'd be interesting. So, but yeah, it is cool that I finally got a chance to talk to someone about, you know, some of the characters and worlds. Like, I can make an entire video just about some of the crazy characters I created. Sherry is just one of them. I didn't even go deep into the plot because I actually need to head to work in a little bit. But it is relaxing that I finally got to at least talk about one of my characters and one of my stories ideas. You know, it's fine. You know, I like talking about that. So that is my Q&A. I thank you, everyone, and I will see you next time with my review of Fallout Equestria. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.